The sky blushes with the first breath of morning. Soft pinks and sleepy blues melt into the sea. Somewhere in the quiet city of Mytilene, a young girl stands at the window of a stone house. She listens, not for birdsong or footsteps, but for silence. Her name is Sappho. And from the moment she could walk, she was drawn to the hush between the waves, to the invisible music of the world. Let your breath soften, and let us return to her earliest days, when words were still a mystery, and the moon was her oldest friend. Sappho's childhood was one of quiet privilege. Her family was noble, wealthy from trade in purple dye and olive oil. Their home overlooked the bay, where ships came and went like whispered stories. While boys trained with javelins, Sappho learned in a different arena, one of scrolls and song. She learned letters by candlelight, chanting vowels like prayers. She traced verses with a reed pen, sometimes spilling ink as she giggled. And from her first poem, just a line, barely more than a breath, her tutor paused, smiled, and said, "You have a poet's hands, little one, and a soul made of stars." In Lesbos, it was not uncommon for noble girls to learn music, poetry, and grace. But for Sappho, learning was not a formality. It was a calling. She studied under priestesses and poets, women who had lived lives of depth and rhythm. They taught her meter, metaphor, melody. They spoke of the goddess Aphrodite and of Eros, the fluttering power of desire. And always there was the lyre, strings that trembled like wind over harp reeds. She practiced until her fingertips were sore and her voice could rise and fall like tide water. Other girls admired her. Some adored her. They called her Sappho, an endearing whisper in the Doric tongue. But her deepest education came not from scrolls, but from solitude. She often slipped away at dusk to sit where the olive groves met the sea. There, she would whisper verses into the wind, poems not yet born, about longing and moonlight and the ache of beauty. Sometimes she wept without knowing why. Sometimes she laughed just because a line felt perfect. There's a story that one night she stayed out so long the moon herself seemed to pause, glowing just above the horizon, as if to listen. That night, Sappho wrote of silver light on bare shoulders, of a name spoken only once, of a kiss that lingered like time on warm bread. In the summers, Mytilene's temples filled with music and laughter. Feast days for the gods were also festivals for the heart. Sappho would often be asked to play, not just for worship, but for delight. Girls danced barefoot in flower crowns. The scent of roasted figs and barley honey filled the air. Elders clapped softly along as Sappho strummed and sang, her voice a silk thread weaving through the wind. Some say she ran a kind of school or sanctuary for girls, where young women came to be educated in music, art and rites of passage. A place where joy and reflection were part of growing up. Here, friendships formed that shaped her deepest verses, names that would echo in her poetry. Anactoria, Atthis, Gongula. As she grew, so did her mastery. Her mentors began to recite her lines. Travellers who passed through Lesbos carried her verses back across the sea. Her fame grew quietly, like ivy on marble. Not shouted, whispered, not crowned, sung. But Sappho did not write for the world. She wrote for the moment, for the heartbeat, for the breath between two people leaning close. Each word was a pebble dropped into the well of feeling, rippling outward into memory. Tonight, she sits once more by her window. The sea sighs below. The lamp glows gently on her writing hand. She is still just a girl, but already a poet. In the next episode, we will walk beside her through a day in her adult life, among scrolls, students and sacred hymns. But for now, let your mind rest beside hers on a quiet night in Lesbos, and may your dreams be threaded with song